Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Play Super Mario Galaxy. This is a bit of a special episode, but I'm still going to treat it as a regular part of the LP instead of a bonus episode. That's what it deserves to be. We're going to go in Rosalina's library. And we keep getting these new chapters for the storybook, so it's pretty clear what happens in here. Well, it's story time. Let us begin. Well, she already said that. Voice acting. Alright. Chapter 1, The Celestial Duo. I'm going to kind of be reading this in just in a calm voice. I'm not going to make any jokes. I might share like my feelings after, because this is really just, I love this. This is just really emotional. Like on the same level as some other various things I've talked about that are emotional. Our story begins a very, very long time ago with a young girl. One day, this girl spotted a rusted spaceship holding a small star child. "What's your name? Are you lost?" the girl asked the star child. "I'm Luma, and I'm waiting for Mama. She's coming for me on a comet," said the star child, who had been waiting day and night. "Don't worry, I'll wait with you," the little girl promised Luma. At nightfall, the little girl borrowed her father's telescope and peered into the sky. She looked and looked, but she saw nothing. Hours turned into days, and then years. But still the sky revealed nothing. Years. Finally, the little girl sighed and said to Loomba, "If we stay here looking much longer, I'll be an old lady soon." But then she had an idea. "Why don't we go out there and find your mother ourselves?" The girl and the Loomba fixed up the rusty spaceship, and then the two set sail into the starry sky. That is how the search for the Celestial Mother began. Chapter 2, Starbits. I think that when I first played this, I did read these chapters one at a time, but I really don't think there's a better way than to read them all at once. They are sequential. Days passed with no sight of the comet, or even a single planet. Instead, asteroids extended for as far as the eye could see. "If I had known it was going to take this long, I would have packed more jam," said the little girl above the rumble of her belly. Before they left, she packed all the essentials. Telescope, butterfly net, stuffed bunny, bread, milk, jam, and apricot-flavored tea, but "I forgot to bring water." At this, the Luma burst into gales of laughter, and the girl began to pout. "As long as I have Starbits, I'll be fine," said Luma. "Want some?" The little girl couldn't stay mad after hearing this. Luma continued to laugh, and the girl couldn't help but join in. "Alright, maybe just a nibble." Leaning far out of the ship, the pair both began to collect Starbits with the girl's net. They almost fell out a few times, but they kept on collecting. The Starbits tasted like honey. So if you ever wondered what a Starbit tasted like, they tell you. So at first, it's just kind of cute. I kind of could share my opinions after every chapter, I guess. Just a little bit. I think that what got me is just, when they said years, just years. Wouldn't that get boring? But that's all I think when I read a lot of things. Wouldn't that get boring? But, it's friendship. I'd love to be hanging out with either one of them. A beam of light pierced through the ship's window. Thinking it was the morning sun, the girl peered through the window, only to find a turquoise-blue comet shimmering at her. The little girl shook the sleeping Luma awake and shouted excitedly, "We have to get to that comet!" The pair descended on the comet and found that it was made of ice. They looked high and low, but the Luma's mother was nowhere to be found. Exhausted, the little girl sat down with a flop, unable to take another step. Utterly unable to take another step. Look! Peering down at the icy ground where the Luma was pointing, the girl suddenly noticed clusters of Starbits encased in the ice. Pretty good. Oh, sorry. There's ice here, but it's so warm. I'll bet there's water here, too. The two decided they'd stay on the comet for a little while. Riding the turquoise comet, the pair continued their search for the Luma's mother. So cute. Chapter 4, The Dream. Okay. This is where it starts getting emotional. For me, at least. One night, the girl dreamed about her own mother. "Where are you going?" she asked. The mother was retreating back. Without turning, her mother replied, "Don't fret, dearest. I'm not going anywhere. I'm always watching over you like the sun in the day and the moon at night." A wave of sadness washed over the girl. "What about when it rains and I can't see the sun or the moon?" Her mother thought for a moment before responding. "I will turn into the star in the clouds and wait for your tears to dry." When she awoke, the girl's face was damp with tears. "You have starbits in your eye," the Luma said to the girl. Wiping her face, the girl replied, "These are tears, not starbits. I'm crying because I'll never see my mother ever again." At this, Luma began to cry too. "Mama, oh Mama, wow." The pair traveled through the starry skies, and though they encountered many other comets, not one of them held Luma's mother. Luma was responding. Now, Luma, the rain clouds won't go away if you keep crying," the girl said, giving Luma a squeeze. "I'll give you a present if you stop." The girl closed her eyes and said gently, "I'll take care of you." With these words, she felt a small spark in her heart. Wow. Like, just so much you don't know, and yet it's still just, you just think, and wow. Chapter 5, Home. "The kitchen will go over here and the library will go over there," the girl said busily to herself. "We'll put the gate here." Of course, the first thing she thought about was the kitchen. Okay, I had to. I'm sorry. Ever since the girl took Luma under her care, she'd been bustling about at a feverish pace. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it to make a happy home. It turned out the starbits weren't the only things buried in the ice. There were tools and furniture unlike any they'd ever seen. The girl used them to build a home. Looking at the completed house, Luma remarked, "Don't you think it's awfully big of us? For just the two of us? With a library, bedroom, kitchen, and fountain and gate, it's certainly spacious, but still something seemed to be missing. I'll tell you what's missing. This area in the game. Where is that?" Actually, that might actually just be the library. No, it can't be. "Only my father, brother, and mother were here," the girl said wistfully. Indeed, this house was too large for its too small residence. I'm sorry. I'll just read what's on the page. On the page and screen. That night, clutching her favorite stuffed bunny close to her heart, the girl fell asleep in the starship. I like how the bunny is like the star bunny. So cute. Chapter 6, Friends. Then one day, while the girl sat sipping tea, a tiny apricot-colored planet appeared on the horizon. From the planet, another Luma of the same color emerged. "Do you two know each other?" The girl asked the two Lumas gleefully. Despite the girl's excitement, they seemed uneasy. The two Lumas neither drew closer nor backed away from each other. Instead, they just stared. Then one Luma broke the silence. "My mama!" At once, the apricot Luma parroted back, "My mama! My mama! My mama! My mama!" The two girls began to dance around the girl frantically, and neither showed any sign of stopping. The girl was so charmed by this adorable scene that she couldn't help but laugh. And that's when something very strange happened. Suddenly, more Lumas began to crop out from the apricot. They were all different colors, but they all shouted the same thing. "My mama! My mama! My mama!" The sight of all the shouting Lumas only made the girl laugh harder. "What am I going to do with all these children? Who's the deaf?" No. The Lumas just stared blankly as she doubled over laughing. "I guess we'll have to name each and every one of you." Tomorrow, once she had finished naming them all, she would begin moving all the Lumas into the new house. I like how she actually seems to be growing older. At least that's what it looks like. Chapter 7, The Telescope. Okay, here's the one. After seeing their 100th comet, a sudden thought popped into the girl's head. "I wonder if my home planet is still as blue as it was." That's when she remembered her father's telescope. Peeking into the telescope, a tiny blue dot floated into sight. It was smaller than a starbit. How strange. It's so far away, but it feels so close. She twisted the knob of the telescope, and the blue dot grew until she could make out a grassy hill with flowers. It seemed very familiar to her. Zooming even closer, a terrace on the hill came into view. I used to go stargazing there when I lived on my home planet. She remembered rubbing the sleep out of her eyes as she followed her father up the hill to look at the stars. She remembered how she and her brother would sled down that hill. She remembered having picnics with her brother on that hill on bright and windy days. And I want to go home. I want to go home right now. The girl burst into tears, and the Loombas didn't know what to do. I want to go home. I want to go back to my house. I want to see my mother. By the house by the hill. The girl was shouting now, her face wet with tears. But I know that she's not there. I knew all along that she wasn't out there in the sky. Because she's sleeping under the tree on the hill. The girl's cries echoed through the stars, and a hush fell over the area. Wow, I don't know what to say about that. That's just really, I guess it makes you appreciate your own family. I mean, we're never going to know what happened to her family. Or if, something must have happened. Her brother would probably be around the same age as she is. So, what would happen? That she's the only one alive right now. And then the scene with her mother, that must have been in a dream originally, though. Or something. I don't know. She suddenly looks younger again. Though usually quite cheery, one day the girl became sad again. Mooma drew close and tried to comfort her. Mama, you still have me. And don't be sad about your mama, because she's a part of you. That means she's always close by. It's like me. I love starbits because they remind me of my mama. No, the girl said, unable to stop the tears. A lonely look flickered across Looma's face, but it was soon replaced by a wide grin. I have an idea. I will transform into a comet, a soaring comet that can carry you upon this journey. With that, Looma, trailing bands of white, soared high to the sky, and just as quickly started to plummet back down. Kaboom! Kablam! The ground shook and a bright light poured out of the crater that Looma had created. The bands of light twisted together to form a comet tail, and then Looma emerged, reborn as a comet. The girl could scarcely believe her eyes. But how? She kept asking. Our destiny as Loomas is to transform into different things, said the red Looma, as it suddenly appeared. Stars, comets, planet, we can become all those things. When I grow up, I want to become a star that makes someone smile, said a green Looma. A blue Looma chimed in. That Looma turned into a real cutie of a comet, didn't he? All the Loomas together said, No more crying, Mama. Thank you, said the girl in a whisper, and she pulled the Loomas close and hugged them. From that day on, starbits no longer fell from the girl's eyes. The comet set forth from the girl's home planet, its long tail. Am I the only one that thinks that's sad, too? That the only companion she had when she was still, without her family, and that became her new family, is now a comet, and she can't talk to it anymore. I know there's everybody else now, and who knows how long she's been to everyone else, but still. Final chapter, family. With its many Loomas and telescopes, the comet was quite a sight to behold. The girl and the Loomas were proud to call it home. At a welcoming party for a new Looma, the girl gathered in the kitchen said in a louder voice than usual, Look at the baby! Alright everyone, let's make a cake sprinkled with starbits, and it will be a star cake. The Loomas excitedly began to gather the ingredients. As she watched the Luma story about, the girl smiled and thought to herself, "This is my family now, and I will stay with them until they're ready to leave the nest. And when they do leave, I'll see them off with a smile, because that's what makes a mother happiest." That night, when the girl lay down to sleep, a soft light enveloped her and reminded her of the blue planet she once called home. But it would be nice to return home every once 100 years to nap in my favorite sleeping nook. The comet carrying the Lumas and the girl continues on its journey to this very day. With more family members in tow that can be counted, it's said that the comet visits the girl's home planet once every 100 years. Crab whitetail glittering in the sky. The end. That's just beautiful. A beautiful story. One thing I have to say, though, is that, the Luma sacrificing itself, isn't that just like the Metroid story in Metroid Other M with the baby? I'm going to run around in here. You can look back in the book and look through any of the chapters again, if you want to. But the first time's always the best. Let's see if there's anything else to do here. Actually, I didn't want to just look around. How to find that big hall? Was her family, maybe? Yeah, so... Yeah. So maybe that's a good thing that Rosalina didn't say, "No, not the baby," because then people would be all over her case. But, they made her a more three-dimensional character. And yes, that was Rosalina, of course. Yeah, I don't know, I mean... It's a beautiful story. It really is. I mean, you could put that in a children's book, and, they wouldn't find it. They wouldn't know it had anything to do with a Mario game. It has nothing to do with it. I mean, it does have to do with a Mario game, but it could stand alone as a story. It totally could. I have no doubt that it could. How could it not? I want to give you a hug now. I mean, how could you not want to give her a hug after that? Looks like rape in the butt, but I want to give her a hug. Is she floating off the ground? I never really noticed that. Yeah, she doesn't have feet. Wow. I will bless this planet. Or comet that is, that the Luma has become. Of course, our Luma might be the baby one. So, yeah. Although, I mean, I'm the one that said I didn't like the suicide joke because, they're still alive and that's their destiny. And it was his destiny, so I'm fine with that. It's just, I don't know. When you're in the moment. And they can turn back, but... So, my guess is that this Luma could turn back if he wanted to. But if he did, then all the home they created would be gone. This is beautiful. I mean, look at this. Look at this. And you can even see, that it's still moving. This whole game is just beautiful. So I'll see you guys in the next one.